Today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the Looney Tunes Buildable Capsule figures. Spot didn't actually find these in his local vending machine. No, in fact, I ended up ordering these on eBay. I found them on eBay, and I don't think I've ever seen these here in Canada, so I decided to order them. And I think I got myself the whole set. We're going to open these up, we're going to build them. Now, funny enough, on eBay, when I ordered these, when I bought these from the seller, he advertised them as cake toppers, and I don't believe they were ever marketed as cake toppers, but needless to say, we have, what do we have, 8? 8 that we're going to go through. Some of these I think pull them off a little bit better than others, and we're going to open each one and build it together. Spot's also done the buildable figures before. Remember, we had a look at, the Marvel ones, which I think was the first ones we had a look at. We've also had a look at South Park, but there's various different capsule buildable figures. They're all essentially the same. I'll show you guys how it works in a second, but they're basically all the same. They just print them differently on the front and on the leg, on the body. Now you would ask, where do you see a body? I only see a head. I see the head of Bugs Bunny. That's because, I reach off camera, I'm gonna grab myself a knife because these all have wrappers on them. I'm gonna cut the wrapper, just like that. Just take one area and cut that so I can pull it off. And inside, oh, now it stops. I was going to say inside you can hear there's a body, there's something rattling inside. With the buildable figures, what you do is you pop the shell, take the lower body. I think there was also DC of these as well. Take the two halves, and you see how there's a kind of a half circle, see at the bottom there? And then there's this peg. You have to get these on either side. And peg those together. There we go. And you've got Bugs Bunny. Now some of these work a little bit better than others. Bugs Bunny, for all intents and purposes, does look like Bugs Bunny. He's got the body like Bugs, a little fatter, mind you. And the head, I don't think is as successful because they've kind of drawn the head as if it's this big, but really the head is this size. They should have made his face a little bit bigger and then the ears around the back, but I guess they did that so all the ears would be visible from the front. They do rotate. I mean, you could really move the head to some extent, just by the way that they're built. I love these things though. Again, I have not seen these in vending machines. If you have, let me know. Let me know down below. One of my all-time favorite characters from Looney Tunes, Gossamer. Come back here, rabbit. Gossamer is the giant red monster. Some of my favorite episodes also featured Gossamer. Okay, let's open up the shell. I think Gossamer is going to be a more successful look just because of the way he is, just because of the way the character is designed. Like, he's just basically a giant head with a lower legs. Technically, this isn't quite right, because again, you're using the same circular head. But I think it works a little bit better. Maybe just a little bit better than Bugs here. There's how the two look together. Moving along, we have a beep, 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 beep. Porky Pig, which I guess, by today's standards, Porky Pig I don't think is as politically correct because they make fun of his stuttering problem. But there's the front of him. He looks, I think he fits better as well also as this round body. Speaking of body, pop the head over top, close this shut. Here we go. And there's Porky Pig. That's all, folks. It's actually not. That is not all. Let me keep going. There's Porky Pig. So far, I think these two are my favorite. We have Tweety Bird. Who had a speech problem. I guess that's the problem with like old cartoons. And I don't justify and argue that, you know, cartoons back in the day maybe nowadays are, you know, not quite as suitable, maybe, but you know what? They're cartoons, guys. Don't beat them all up because they're cartoons. There we have, oops, Tweety actually didn't close properly. Because, you know, you've got Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore's got depression, and why is Bert and Ernie living together? You know, it's just all stuff that sometimes you just have to say, it's just because, and that's it. That's all that matters. For some reason, I have a tough time getting Tweety Bird together. There we go. He's got a little bit of coloring. I don't know. I don't think that was me that did that. He's got a tail on the back. That's cool. I like that. Tweety Bird. To go along with Tweety, we'll look at Sylvester next. Again, cut the plastic. If you guys have seen these in your local parts, let me know down below. We'll separate the body. Put the head on one side and the head on the other. These are good too, that when you're finished with them and you want to pack them away, you could pack them away as is. I mean, they're not big collectibles. Or you can put the bodies back into the heads. And there you have Sylvester. When you turn his head, it's of course going to look a little disjointed. Some of these heads don't snap into place very well. They're not the most well constructed of collectibles. I love these things though. I love these little buildable capsule figures. Next, let's look at Daffy Duck. One of my favorite characters, also from Looney Tunes, was Daffy. Rabbit season. Duck season. Rabbit season. Duck season. He'd always get his bill blown off. Or it would be... his bill would be like open and his head would be inside and he'd always have to close it shut. Tell Bugs that he's despicable. You're despicable. Had a lisp, too. So again, like... that's old cartoons for you. Just enjoy them for what they are. I can't get these some of these are really, really difficult to put together. You have to apply a little bit of pressure. There we go. And I think that's right. Yeah, there's Daffy. Kind of the same problem that Bugs has. I don't know, surprisingly, Sylvester doesn't bother me as much, maybe because, you know, he's a black character, like he's all black in the head, black in the body. I don't know, it just kind of works better. I guess Bugs isn't too bad. Daffy kind of just seems lost. But you could theoretically believe that this is all at least his head, because he's not outlined, whereas Bugs would be. There's Daffy Duck. I'm going to leave one of these for the last. Let's look at the Tasmanian Devil. That's the sound that the Tasmanian Devil makes. Other than Tiny Toon Adventures, they haven't really... I don't think they've really given Looney Tunes... I guess there's Space Jam too. But they haven't really given Looney Tunes a proper TV series since. They did that... I don't think it's running anymore, but it was like Looney Tunes where they were all living together, and Daffy... Babs, was it Babs Bunny? They were all kind of hip and young, and they were teenagers and stuff like that. I don't know, it just didn't work for me as much. I'll still always go back and watch the old classic cartoons. Bugs Bunny was the best. Put the Tasmanian halves together. There we go. And you've got Tasmanian Devil. And finally, I'm going to put Taz there. Daffy, Mortimer, Tweety. We'll put Bugs Bunny in the front there. There we go. And we got one more. Let's bring the camera down. The last one we're going to look at is also one of my favorite characters, Marvin. Marvin the Martian. And just take the plastic off. I guess if you guys can't find these, like myself, can't find these in local vending machines, again, I found these on eBay. Sellers, I'm sure you can find another seller selling these. Maybe it's the same seller, I don't know. But we'll put these two halves together. And there we go. One thing about these too is they're fairly inexpensive, I would imagine, for the companies that make these. And maybe it's just one company that makes these. They're fairly inexpensive to make because the head is already one mold. The body is already one mold. You're really just printing the head, or whatever the head's going to be, over top. And you're going to print the body over top of the mold. Like, you're not really retooling, remolding any of these parts. They're pretty much as you see right here. They stay the same, consistent. You can see that some of these manufactured, the way they're manufactured, some of them work a little bit better than others. There we go. And there you have Marvin the Martian, complete with his, always looks like the top of a broom that he's got sticking out from the top of his helmet. Marvin the Martian. Fun little pieces. Again, I really love these. We've had a look at a bunch of these. I think there was also sports athletes too, but that really didn't interest me all that much. But when it comes to like cartoon characters or comic book characters, when these always come out, I always want to try to pick them all up. Today's collectible spot, there's Bugs Bunny again. Today we're having a look at the Bugs Bunny, or Looney Tunes, I guess I should say, the Looney Tunes Capsule Build-A-Figures. I don't know if the correct name for it, but I wouldn't say that they're cake toppers, whatever the seller was actually selling them as. Certainly stay tuned though, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. Thanks for watching as you always do. See you next time.